You stole food from the group's shared stockpile last night. This morning, nobody arrests you. There is no police officer, no courtroom, no judge, and no jail cell waiting at the edge of camp. Instead, 20 people who have known your face since childhood are staring at you in complete silence. Nobody raises a weapon. Nobody shouts. They simply look at you, and somehow, that quiet circle feels more frightening than any modern punishment. For nearly all of human history, this was justice. Not justice written in books. Not justice delivered by strangers in uniforms. Justice lived in memory, reputation, gossip, shame, hunger, and the terrifying fact that you could not survive alone. Most of us imagine life before police as chaos. We picture small groups wandering through forests, stealing from each other, fighting over meat, and solving every argument with violence. But anthropologists who studied many small-scale societies found something much stranger. These communities often had no formal prisons, no written laws, and no professional enforcers, yet they could be intensely peaceful inside the group. Not because people were naturally perfect, but because everyone was watching everyone else. So how did people stop theft, violence, bullying, and cruelty without a single institution we would recognize today? Anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent years studying that question. His answer was a strange idea called reverse dominance. In a normal dominance hierarchy, one powerful person stands above the group. In reverse dominance, the group stands above anyone who tries to become too powerful. The community does not wait for a chief to control the bully. The community becomes the control system. And the system usually started softly. First came teasing. Not friendly teasing, but sharp, public jokes aimed directly at the person who had crossed the line. A greedy hunter might be mocked for acting like a giant stomach with legs. A selfish person might be laughed at in front of the fire until the entire camp understood the message. The joke said, "We saw what you did." The laughter said, "Do not do it again." If teasing failed, the group escalated to ridicule. Imagine not one person insulting you, but your whole social world slowly turning you into the camp joke. Every meal, every conversation, every look reminded you that your reputation was cracking. In a group of 50 people you had known your entire life, public humiliation was not a small inconvenience. It was social death moving slowly enough for you to feel every step. And the strange part is that this often worked. Shame was not just an emotion. Shame was a survival tool. If everyone believed you were selfish, violent, or dangerous, fewer people shared with you. Fewer people trusted you. Fewer people wanted to sleep near you, hunt with you, or defend you when trouble came. If ridicule still did not work, the next step was shunning. This was colder than anger. People stopped speaking to you. They stopped inviting you into conversations. They stopped handing you food. They stopped laughing when you tried to join them. You were still physically inside the camp, but socially, you were already being pushed outside it. In the modern world, being ignored can feel painful. In a foraging band, it could become deadly. Survival depended on cooperation, shared food, shared warnings, shared childcare, shared knowledge of water, animals, weather, and danger. To be cut off from the group was not just lonely. It was a warning that your life was beginning to separate from theirs. And this was not always vague or informal. In some societies, serious accusations could trigger a structured public process. Among groups such as the Djibuti of Papua New Guinea, researchers described cases where suspected wrongdoing, even accusations connected to death and sorcery, could move through accusation, public discussion, and community judgment. There might be no courthouse, but there was still procedure. No written code, but still rules. No police officer, but still a collective decision. That is what makes this so unsettling. The system did not need walls, bars, or badges, because the walls were social. The prison was reputation. The judge was the memory of everyone around you. And if teasing, ridicule, shunning, and public judgment all failed, there was one step left before violence. A step so frightening that most people changed long before it happened. Banishment. Banishment meant that the circle finally opened, and you were pushed into the world beyond it. No shared fire. No shared food. No one watching your back while you slept. Just darkness, weather, hunger, predators, and the horrible knowledge that the people who knew you best had decided they were safer without you. For most people, the threat alone was enough. You did not need a prison sentence when exile could mean death by exposure, starvation, or one bad night in the forest. The fear of being left completely alone forced many people back into the rules of the group. But every system has edge cases. There were people who did not stop when they were teased. People who answered ridicule with rage. People who stole again after being shunned. People who hurt others, threatened others, or kept breaking the fragile trust that made survival possible. This is where the story gets darker. Anthropological research on mobile forager societies shows that lethal punishment did exist, but it was not usually random chaos. In these accounts, the most extreme response was often reserved for someone the group believed could not be corrected any other way. Not a person who made one mistake. Not someone who had a bad day. But a repeat offender who had become a standing danger to everyone else. Think about what that meant in a world with no police to call and no prison to send anyone to. If a dangerous person kept attacking people inside the group, the community had very few options. They could warn him. They could shame him. They could isolate him. They could threaten exile. But if all of that failed, the final question became terrifyingly simple. Do we let one person endanger everyone, or do we act together? Researchers sometimes describe this kind of collective killing as a last resort form of capital punishment. The word sounds modern, but the logic was ancient. The group was not trying to punish every flaw. It was trying to protect the social machine that kept children fed, elders safe, and hunters alive. In a tiny society, one violently selfish person could do damage far beyond one argument. He could poison trust itself. And trust was everything. Without trust, people stopped sharing food. Without sharing, children went hungry. Without cooperation, hunting failed. Without warning calls, predators came closer. Without mutual defense, strangers became threats. So the group punished not only the crime, but the danger behind the crime. The possibility that one person might make cooperation impossible. Here is the part that feels backward to us. These societies had no police, but they were not lawless. In some ways, they were more regulated than we are. Every person was a witness. Every person was a possible juror. Every person carried the group's memory. There was no private reputation hidden behind apartment doors, no anonymous crowd, no chance to disappear into a city of millions. Today, you can break a rule in one neighborhood and move to another where nobody knows your name. You can be rude to a stranger and never see them again. You can live beside people for years without learning their stories, their habits, or their fears. Modern society gave us courts, prisons, and formal rights, but it also gave us something ancient people almost never had: anonymity. That trade changed justice completely. We outsourced punishment to institutions because our communities became too large for everyone to know everyone else. A judge can sentence someone without knowing their childhood. A police officer can arrest someone without knowing their grandmother. A prison can hold someone far away from the people they harmed. Modern justice is powerful because it is impersonal. Ancient justice was powerful because it was painfully personal. Neither world was perfect. Small communities could be unfair, superstitious, cruel, or wrong. Modern systems can be distant, unequal, and cold. But the mystery remains. For most of human history, people managed order without the things we now think order requires. So the next time you walk past a stranger without a second thought, remember how new that feeling is. For almost all of human existence, nobody was just a stranger. Everyone around you knew who you were, what you had done, what you had shared, what you had stolen, and whether they could sleep safely beside you. There were no police watching from outside the community. There did not need to be. The entire community was watching from within. And the oldest prison in human history may not have been made of stone at all. It may have been the look on everyone else's face when they finally stopped trusting you.